Hey sports fans, I just want to take a moment to give a big shout out to Thompson Performance. If you're looking to take your game to the next level and prepare for the demands of college athletics, Thompson Performance is the place to be. Their tailored training programs are designed to help athletes like you push past limits and unlock your full potential. You can reach Thompson Performance at their Instagram on screen or click the link down below. Welcome back, sports fans. It's your host, Casey, and today on the Fourth Quarter Podcast, I have a special guest, the one, the only, Whitney Bell, newest head coach of Caledonia football. And let me tell you, I am so excited to get to this today because Whit is a longtime friend and he actually coached me back in the day. So with that being said, Whit, I'm just going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself to the fans.
Yeah, hi everybody. This is Whitney Bell, the new head football coach here in Caledonia. I'm pretty excited to get started with the program. I've been fortunate around here, but I'm going on my 10th year here in Caledonia, so never planned to be the head coach, but I'm pretty honored to be the new head coach. So
and we are very glad to have you. You've done obviously a lot with the community, and we're going to get into all of that, but Whit, we always start off with the icebreaker, so one thing I wanted to ask is, you having played for the Rampage before, what was that experience of like major football in Grand Rapids kind of like?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, like the Rampage was awesome. I mean, the Van Andel was full for every single game. We didn't have professional football in West Michigan, and the Rampage was it. And I'd say West Michigan loves their football, loves coming to watch football, and they did that with the Rampage. And when I was with them in 2008, we fell a little short in the semifinals against San Jose. It was a really close game, but it was a bummer to see the Rampage that program come to an end because the community support, everything we had going on with the Van Andels and the DeVosses supporting that operation was pretty cool.
Yeah, it really, like I said, I wish I was, older because I don't remember it nearly enough. I was 8 years old when, you were there, and, it just, I really wish professional football comes back. And I heard that the Rampage potentially are. I heard that rumor, but
I heard that rumor as well. So it'd be pretty cool to see that logo back again.
It sure would. Yeah. So, getting right into it, because, this is what we're all here for is, Wick, a kid from Sault Ste. Marie, how does your football journey begin and how do you end up at Ferris State?
Well, I mean, I actually played hockey all growing up, and I'm not going to lie to you, I loved hockey more than I love football. Just my body size was more deemed for football. And I had a high school football coach by the name of Barry Pearson that, he played at the University of Michigan, was a captain there. And he was the one that got me loving football. I mean, my dad played college football. My brother played college football. So like football is a part of our family. And then my mom's side, my uncle played hockey for University of Wisconsin and played for the Chicago Blackhawks. So like athletics was always been a part of our family. My dad coached me when I was younger. He coached me my freshman year, and it just happened to work out. I never thought about playing college football. I just wanted to play with my buddies in high school and had a great experience. Like college football really wasn't a thing for me. I thought, hey, that'd be awesome to do it one day, but I enjoyed hanging out with my buddies and playing football. And it just so happened that Ferris called and, offered me a scholarship. They're the only school to offer me a scholarship to play. So I'm like, I guess that's where I'm headed. And I was so fortunate for that because that experience I had in college was pretty cool.
So what was the transition like? Obviously, for those that don't know, but Sault Ste. Marie is, one of the bigger towns in the UP, but comparative to, Southern Michigan, it's, it's not much bigger than Cal, to be completely honest anymore. Maybe a little bit, but
no, Sault Ste. Marie is a very small town. So they're, I think, a Division IV football program now. When I graduated, I think we were Division II, so we were a little bit bigger. I love the UP. I'm born and raised on a farm. We have Belgian draft horses, and kind of the only thing we ever knew was just, work hard and do our job, and good things happen. I mean, I had a lot of aunts and uncles. I had others that played athletics too. And that just kind of was a part of our family of like, when we weren't, doing stuff around the farm, I'm hanging out with my older brothers and all of his friends and trying to keep up with them. And they beat up on me a lot. So maybe it made me a little bit tougher. I don't know. So.
Yeah. I think, like I said, a big thing with all the interviews so far has been, that family influence. It really
Yeah.
helps build the character and toughens you up. And coming from a farm background, yeah, I would say you're pretty tough. That's not easy work. So, obviously that's such an incredible story, coming from small town Sault Ste. Marie, but going to Ferris. So what was the time at Ferris like for you? What was that experience like transitioning?
I would say Ferris was the best time I've ever had. I had so many dear friends, and shoot, I have two of my best friends that coach football with me right now in Caledonia. So, I mean, the friendships that I was able to capture in college, they're lifelong friends. So it's just different, like, because it's a different mindset when you go to college and then when you're playing high school sports. I mean, I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, and you just can't do that in college. And it's just a different type of a commitment level that you got to have. And when you're in that locker room with the guys have the same like mindset, you just build a really tight bond, and they're friends for life. And if they ever need something, then you're a phone call away type of friendship that you just don't get unless you're in that particular locker room. And I mean, it was so much fun at Ferris. I know that that conference back when I played, man, there's a lot of guys that went on and played in the NFL. So it was no joke. You look at the alma mater now and winning, 3 national championships in 4 years. We're pretty proud to be a Bulldog. That's for sure.
Yeah. Ferris State has definitely put some people to the NFL. For a D2 school. It's kind of like every year you kind of expect someone or couple people to go. And,
Yeah.
just my recent, seeing what they've done recently is just crazy. And it's so excited that they're a part of Michigan. That's the biggest thing. But
ain't that the truth?
yes. So moving on from, Ferris, obviously you had an amazing career there at defensive tackle. So you actually went to the Canadian Football League. Experiences help you to coach today.
Yeah. I mean, like, you learn you learn stuff in college, and then when you start getting paid to play the game that you love, it's a completely different mind shift too. So it's a mind shift from high school to college, and then it's a completely other mind shift from college football to professional, because now it's your job. This is your livelihood. And I mean, you're 23 years old in a locker room with 30-year-old men that have been at it for a long time. So you learn in a hurry that, hey, this isn't just college football. This is my bags could be packed at any day, at any time, if you don't perform at a very high level. And I was fortunate enough to stick around in Vancouver, and I was basically in and out of lineup because I was an import. In Canadian Football League, you're only allowed a certain amount of imports on your roster for game days and on the field at the same time. So it was wild to me, and I had to really become a student of the game, because I wouldn't say I was the biggest player out there. There's guys that were just naturally big and strong, and they're just different human beings. And I had to find a niche for myself to keep me around. And, one of my niches was I tried to become a student of the game. I'd always be watching film with coaches or other players that I found that were extremely talented at it and been around it for a long time. And during that time, as I really learned that, I love coaching. I love giving back. And that's where I kind of really found that strong passion. It was from my high school football coach all the way through professional. Like, every little bit, you just try to put some things in your toolbox to utilize that you can give back to others. And we were fortunate enough in 2006 to win a Grey Cup, which was so cool. Like, you wish everybody could have that opportunity, but obviously that it's a very select percentage of people that get to do it. And I'm just fortunate that I was a part of a team to do something special.
That must have been just an incredible experience, because the Grey Cup, for those that don't know, Grey Cup is basically the Super Bowl for the Canadian Football League. And so to have one in your life and you got to experience firsthand, I can't even picture what the scene was like, but just incredible, and with that being said, it's so inspiring to hear your story about getting into coaching, because you got to have a passion for it. It's not an easy job, as I'm sure it's got its trials and tribulations, and it's really, really awesome to see a person that is a student of the game and has a passion for the kids, the program, everything from top to bottom. It's just great that what you're doing. And with that being said, Caledonia, how did you come to Caledonia?
I have not the faintest idea. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like my my oldest sister got married in Caledonia, and I was still in high school, and I remember saying, "I'm never coming to Caledonia." 10 years, and here I sit. 10 years later, I mean, when I was playing football in Vancouver, my wife was teaching. She had a teaching job in Martin, and we lived down in the Gun Lake area, and she ended up getting a different job, and I ended up stopping. My playing career, and I was actually coaching college football at Ferris State University for 3 seasons. I was a D-line strength and conditioning coach, and I would literally live in my office. I had a blow up mattress, so I'd stay in my office, and so we get done breaking down film around midnight, 1 o'clock, and I'd end the train guys at 5:30 in the morning before everything else got going. So I basically said, wherever you want to be, honey, that's where we're going to be at. So we ended up, finding property and building a house in Caledonia, and I stopped coaching in college, and I went to coach professional football for a bit, and I realized I was really hard on my family. So it was probably time that I step away from that, and I took a job that was flexible. And to be honest, I didn't know really anybody in Caledonia other than the Yule family that I've known for a really long time because my oldest sister married Mark. But other than that, I didn't really know a lot of people. So I'm like, hey, can I just volunteer to be as your D-line coach in Caledonia? Because I really was just trying to get to know people. I'm like, hey, I know football. I like coaching. I like giving back to kids. You fast forward to year 10, I'm not a head coach. So it's kind of cool.
It's like I said, I remember, so 18, I remember you being our D-line coach, and the impact and energy you brought just every day was something that as 18 and a 17, 18-year-old, I didn't think that people could bring that kind of energy to a practice, but you showed that you could. And normally I wasn't obviously one of your main guys and the D line. I was a little too small for that, but I could hear you talking all the way across the field, just making sure that people understood what the point was getting across, and that you have this aura around you that demands that you want to hear what this guy has to say. That's what I remember most about 2018, and that, like I said, that's my little story of you. But yeah, Caledonia wise, that's crazy.
Well, I appreciate that, because every player matters, in my opinion, no matter if you're a starter or, like, to me, you're starting on special teams. Every player matters. And if I was able to impact a person that maybe not play every single snap, that's what makes me happy, right? Like, not everybody can play every single down. Not everybody's, like, gifted in that thing, but like at the end of the day, you sacrifice your time to come out and play. So it's my duty to ensure that everybody gets treated the same and everybody is held at the same expectation.
I totally agree. And that's the coach in you. And that's what's so special, is that is exactly, what people want to hear is, it's the passion for the game and understanding, the game. And that, like I said, just a incredible mind you have, Whit. Just incredible mind. So moving forward.
Hopefully week 4 and week 5, people still feel the same exact way.
So, I think they will. I feel good about it.
Good.
So with, your experience, obviously D-line coach, you got into the role, under Burrell, I believe you got D-line coach, defensive coordinator. So what was that like to get to that position?
Yeah, it was interesting because Coach Gillis has been at it for a really long time, and he was a very good defensive coordinator, and it was just one of those situations where his sons were graduating from high school, and he was going to go watch them do play. One of them, I think JD went and played baseball, and Pat went to the military, and he wanted more time for that. And so Coach Burrow was like, "Hey, are you open to being the defensive coordinator?" And I'm like, "Well, you might actually have to pay me a little bit now, because I volunteered for 2 years." And it was an awesome experience, coaching with Coach Burrow. I mean, he was at it for such a long time, and he's just got a wealth of knowledge when it comes to just not just coaching, but how to manage the entire operation. I learned so much from him. I was very fortunate to be a part of it. And yeah, it was just a weird transition. Like I wasn't planning on it, and it just happened. And okay, cool. Let's do this. Let's have fun while doing it. I got young kids that are coming up. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere, so let's do it.
Let's do it. And it was that kind of, like I said, Burl was so good at the, just what an amazing guy. That's all I got to say about Burl. Is
Yeah.
just an amazing guy, great football mind, and he always had, I felt like always had the right thing to say, in the situations, always had the right thing to say. And so learning from a guy like that is probably incredible for you as a coach. You saw a different side of it than I did. So, that's always my takeaway. But you also got to coach on a team that went to the state championship. So, what was that like?
That was like that would be hands down one of the coolest coaching years I've ever been fortunate to be a part of. Like, man, we had such great players that just they bought into what Coach Pennington and I were doing, whether, Coach Pennington offensively as a head coach and myself as a D coordinator. They were completely bought into what we had going on, and they were committed to it. And that group will, forever hold a place in my heart. They were pretty cool. You got to think, man, we had some pretty dang good football players too now.
Yes.
Like, if you look at that defense specifically, I think out of the 11 starters, I think 9 are playing college football somewhere right now.
Yes.
and they're still playing and they're contributing. Like, those don't come around every single day either. But like, you can be really talented all day long, but if you're not together as a team, if you don't work together and you don't like love one another and love the dudes you're playing with, it really doesn't matter. Like, talent can only get you so far. In this game of football, talent can get you on the field, but it's not going to get you wins. Like, you have to work together as a team. You have to be one unit working together. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And that group was pretty special when it came to being able to work together. And they still get together to this day. I just had lunch with Brock and Blake and Ian Fedewa. Like, they're just special, because when you do something like that and you get to go to Ford Field, where we haven't been there since 2005, it's a pretty cool experience, right? But I would say the difference between them and others is the way they were together. Is they're like a true family, and it was pretty cool to coach them. I just tried not to mess it up.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think you did a pretty good job. Making it there is probably one of the hardest things to do. And to make it there is incredible. And like I said, yes, those guys are all special. That team was special. The glue that they had is something that, I have heard from every one of them I've interviewed so far is just, hey, we were tight. We were tight knit. And that's something that only comes around so often. It's unique to get that kind of group of guys. So Whit, obviously that's so awesome that you got to be involved with that. And I was in the stands cheering you guys on at Ford Field. I made the trip. So I was pretty excited for, the good old Cal to be there. So, just incredible experience for everyone.
You don't forget those games. Like, that one still keeps me up at night at Ford Field. I had 2 bad calls that put us in a bad situation. So I never forget that, right? You try to remember the 8 shutouts and breaking a lot of records and all the great things that happened. But as a coach, you remember 2 plays that I should have called differently.
Yep. So, and that's the coach's way. It's like, man, if I just that close, I would have, it keeps you up at night for probably the next 15 years, maybe longer, but
it's hard to get there. I mean, Coach Ron Van Ryswick, that's our quarterback's coach. I mean, he's been coaching for 30 years. I remember him telling me, Whitney, this is my first time ever here. So you got to think, people have been coaching for a long time that's never made it there before. And it's, you think about all the things that you could have done and should have done, but like, there's a lot of people that wish they would even been there. And I wish every student athlete could make it there. It's not possible, but it's a pretty cool experience. And really, like, when you took those buses right through downtown Caledonia, I mean, that was awesome. Like,
yeah,
the community loves football in Caledonia.
We do. We treat it truthfully like college football. I feel like that's, the way that the community rallied was something I have never seen. I mean, there was my Ian Fedewa, obviously he's a funny guy. He sent me a picture of the snap map. I'm sure you've seen that, of all of the great migration of Caledonia people heading to Detroit. And it was incredible. But,
we took Detroit over that day.
We did. We definitely did. In moving forward, because, I don't think that's the last state championship appearance we're going to see. So,
absolutely not.
Your reaction to being named new head coach of Caledonia football.
It was a pretty surreal moment. Like I said, same thing with being the D corner. I didn't anticipate it happening, didn't anticipate being the head coach, but I'm pretty dang excited to be the new coach, man. I've seen a lot of it's been great community support. The players are buying into what we're trying to do. We're making some minor changes, and I'm just like, sometimes people are like, my wife has to pinch me sometimes, and I almost feel like it's not true. I'm really, really excited to be the coach here, man. And I got a son that's going into 5th grade. He was with me at Ford Field. He's around all the time. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I'm not going anywhere. So I'm very, very excited to get started here. Like, it's almost like you don't sleep very well at night because you just want to start practicing and start getting into it. But I'm very fortunate with the administration and, with Dr. Wheeldryer and everybody, with the process that happened. And I got no words to say that I'm thrilled and I'm honored to be the new head coach.
And that's fantastic. Bell, I've been a huge supporter of yours from day one, and to see a man that understands Caledonia as a program and everything is so incredible. And I'm just so happy that you got this opportunity. Leadership style. Now that you're in charge, what would you have to say, your leadership style would be?
My leadership style is I'm a very involved football coach. So I guess I have expectations and I have standards for our football program, and I don't lower our standards for that. So we have to rise to that occasion. And, we've had our first 2 days of summer workouts, and, the first 2 days have been awesome with our players. They're buying into the little things that we're doing. But me as a coach, I'm a very vocal, very energetic guy. I'm always going to be. That's never going to change. I coach my 11U hockey team. It's the same exact way as I coach my football guys. Like, what you see is what you're going to get out of me. I'm a loud dude. I tell my guys, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just loud. Like, we have a standard that we have. We have a standard here at Caledonia of doing the little things right on and off the field. And we hold each other accountable. I hold myself to that standard. I hold my coaches. I hold my players all the way down to everybody. They have to be pulling the line the same exact direction if we want to be successful.
And those are the things that matter. Absolutely, 100%. Last few questions here. How do you plan to develop the talent and character of your players? What kind of things do you think you can continue to help them with?
I think it's an everyday thing that we do, right? It's holding each other accountable. It's not me holding them accountable. It's the players holding each other accountable is what's really the most important thing. I mean, Coach John Cooper in the NHL said it best. If coaches have to lead our program, then we're not going to have a very good program if it's a coach-led. If it's a player-led program, that's when you know you're going to be very good. So to me, it's creating understanding hey, find your voice as a young student athlete to control the room and encourage your teammates to be better. The coaches can't be the ones that are doing that. It has to be the players that are controlling the locker room and how practice manages. And my job as the coach is to empower those guys to do that and teach them their leadership styles. And not every leader is the same leader. You can have vocal leaders, you can have quiet leaders. That does not matter. The loudest person in the room isn't always the best leader either. It's doing the little things every single day the right way. That's who we are. I get it. We're not the biggest school in the OK Red, and people say that all the time. I really don't care. I generally do not care who we play. They need to have 11 guys on the field just like us. And there's a lot of very good talent in West Michigan, but we just got to be grittier than everybody else. We just got to win fourth quarters. And, that starts here in the summertime, and finishing every little thing we do is important to me. And it's not just on the field, it's in school, it's in our community. I tell our kids, you can't turn on and turn off discipline whenever you want. So you have to be disciplined to do the right things in school, do the right things in the community, and that in return, you'll do the right things on the football field too. So I think that's very important, because we're at the end of the day, football will come to an end for somebody, whether it's after high school or after college, or if you're fortunate enough to go play professionally, eventually this game is going to come to an end, right? We don't know when. Sometimes it'll come an end before we want it to come to an end. But what football can teach young men is how to be great members of society. I say, man, people ask me how we're going to be. I'll let you know in 20 years. Are they going to be great dads, great husbands? They have an awesome job. Like, to me, that's a win. Like, yeah, we're going to win football games. Don't get me wrong. We're going back to Ford Field, but like, there's so many other things that's got to happen for that opportunity to arise. And if you ask my players right now, they'll say, hey, coach is hounding us on the little things. And the little things are the difference between sometimes winning a game and losing a game. So my style is going to be, I'm going to hold my players accountable. I'm going to love them because I love every single one of those kids. I love the kids that graduated from here that I've coached. I love them all, man. Because if they're going to sacrifice their time for me, the least I can do is do everything I can to help them out down the road.
And absolutely, Bell. And we feel the love. I mean, like I said, from 2018 all the way to now, I'm sure, kids feel the love, and that matters a lot to us. And so,
yeah, you had a good group in 2018. Now, you guys were pretty fun to coach.
We had a good time. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with Sims. Sims was always a funny guy, and obviously we got Austin. One of my best friends. Ian's big brother, and I remember actually getting laid out by Malachi and DJ. I was playing linebacker on scout, and they just picked me up and pile drove me. And I don't remember.
Malachi was a good little football player, man. I was. I was pretty lucky to roll into a pretty good defensive line my first year. It made me look pretty good too.
Yes, yeah, everybody there looked pretty good, and thanks to you, Bell. And so ending things, I wanted to give you a chance, to the community, to the players, and to families. What do you have to say to them as you begin this new chapter?
I mean, I guess what I'd say to them is, like, put some faith in it. Like, we're making some minor changes to what we have going on. And I'll tell you, like, the community to me is very important. We have an awesome, tight-knit community. Just come and watch us, because we're going to do some really special things this fall. We got some very good football players that are working very hard. And people sometimes just see Friday nights. They don't see 7 a.m. workouts. They don't see all the other things that we do. These kids work really hard, and they're very, very committed. And all I ask from our community is support them, like, cheer them on, because this is a pretty special group that we have. I'm very fortunate to be able to lead this group of kids, because they're very talented and they work very hard. From a community standpoint, just come out and support. Like, we're going to put on a phenomenal show in the fall. Like, it's going to be cool with our new stadium being done. And man, my big thing is I just want you guys to come. Like, what else are we going to do on a Friday night? Might as well come watch some Caledonia football. Go watch some Fighting Scots get after it on a football field on a Friday night.
I was going to say, there is nothing better than being in the Ralph and having that atmosphere. I mean, the Rockford games, I think the ones I'm talking about, when it was college atmosphere type game, and just incredible. And I think we're going to see a lot of that this year. So
there's been some pretty good battles, and I'm thankful. I can't say without. I'm very thankful for Coach Pennington too. Like, I learned so much from Coach Pennington as well. Like, I've been pretty lucky in my high school coaching career to have some pretty good varsity head coaches that I got to learn from and see how they do things. Like, not a lot of people can say that they've had, Coach Burrow, which is a legendary coach, has been at it for a long time, and Coach Pennington that did some phenomenal things here at Caledonia. I was lucky to be underneath both of them. I will say I'm not Coach Burrow and I'm not Coach Pennington. I'm Coach Bell. So it'll be different, but the different will be good. So
and it's going to be great.
I'm very blessed to have had the people I've had around me to help with the mentorship program too.
Like I said, I am so excited for this new era of Caledonia football with Coach Bell leading the charge. So thank you so much, Whit, for coming on. Obviously, I appreciate the heck out of you. You're one of my inspirations. Like I said, I always remember 2018, you yelling across the field, and that was always so iconic to me. I'm pretty sure I actually yelled at me once when I was on the sled. But other than that, it was a great experience. So thank you so much.
Just remember, I'm yelling because I love you, buddy.
I know. I felt the love. I did. I knew you were trying to make me a better player. So, thank you again so much for coming on. And I would love to, talk to you more as the season goes on. Wishing you luck, obviously, and go have fun at your son's baseball game tonight. Hopefully he wins, hits a homer, maybe a triple, one of the two or both would be great. So
awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate it. I love what you're doing. I love the fourth quarter finish, baby. Keep
Thank
it up.
you.
Let's get back together again soon.
Let's do it, Whit. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Fourth Quarter Finish podcast. Please like and subscribe. To support the athletes that are featured, check out their personal links down below. Fourth Quarter Finish. Hard-hitting takes.